In the words of Lawrence Lessig, law and technology produce together a kind of regulation of creativity we have not seen before. A very good evening to respected dignitaries, deans, directors, heads, faculty members, participants, and my dear students. I, Shipra Mishra, Assistant Professor, on behalf of entire Faculty of Law Integral University, welcomes you all in the inaugural session of International Conference on Emerging Trends in Technology and its Impact on Law. The study of interaction of law with the ever-changing technology is a critical matter now than ever before. Science and technology have profoundly influenced the course of human civilization and provided us with the insights into the world we live in. It has played an essential role in transforming India and world into a modern and industrialized society. When the purpose of the formulation of laws is to administration of justice, technology and legal education are inextricably linked. In the new world, technology plays a key role in intensifying efforts to deliver fair and transparent dispensation of justice. Technology has evolved into various legal fields such as intellectual property rights, cyber laws, space laws, biotechnology, medical laws, environmental laws, evidence laws, and even human rights. In order to achieve the aforesaid purpose, the Faculty of Law, in collaboration with Department of Computer Applications, is organizing international conference on emerging trends in technology and its impact on law, with the object to promote interdisciplinary research and the exchange of ideas between experts from the distinct field of law, science, and technology. This conference is an endeavor to invite views from cross sections of stakeholders on the legal issues relating to technology while widening the awareness about the interconnectedness of law and technology to academicians, scholars, students, and even the masses. So, we will begin with the inaugural session. And firstly, I would like to invite Dr. Naseem Ahmed Sir, Dean and Head, Faculty of Law, to please come forward for the welcome address.
A good evening to all present here. I feel honored for getting the opportunity of welcoming such eminent personalities, which includes professionals, researchers, advocates, and students who have come and joined together from all across the country and abroad. I, Dr. Naseem Ahmed, on behalf of the Faculty of Law and Department of Computer Application, extend my generous welcome to Honorable Pro-Chancellor Dr. Syed Nadeem Akhtar sir and express our gratitude for accepting an invitation to grace this event. We are indeed privileged to have you among us. It gives me the extreme privilege to greet our eminent chief guest, Professor Faizan Mustafa sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor Nalsar, Hyderabad, who is a remarkable teacher for the teachers and life legend in the field of law. My sincere appreciation goes to our esteemed guest of honor, Dr. Pawan Duggal, who is practicing as an advocate in the Honorable Supreme Court of India and a renowned expert in cyber law. I express my heartfelt pleasure to Professor Celestine Windy, University of Belton, United Kingdom, whose remarkable presence itself makes this conference grand internationally. I also extend a warm welcome to our guiding beacon registrar, Professor Haris Siddiqui, sir. My profound gratitude to Dean Faculty of Engineering, Professor T. Usmani, Control of Examination, Professor Abdul Rahman Khan, Dean R&D, Professor Sher Ali, Director IKC, Professor Misdaul Hassan, Director HRDC, Professor Saeed Aqil Ahmed, and other authorities of the university. Lastly, I extend a hearty greeting to our most valued guests, Dean, Directors, Head of the Department, participants, colleagues, and my dear students. Word and Excel. And now new programs are being used to help deliver more efficient and competitive services. Artificial intelligence has been constantly seeping into our day-to-day affairs, from our simplest of work to more complex like biotech, rocket science, etc. Slowly and unconsciously, the world is adopting artificial intelligence, with the legal field being no exception. Law and technology are also totally linked, but integration of technology in legal field has been particularly slow owing to the tradition, boundaries, nature of this field, and also due to the myths and misconception coupled with technophobia that plagues this sector. In this new world, technology plays a key role in intensifying effort to deliver a fair and transparent dispensation of justice. It has been long said that the legal profession is very traditional one and that is practitioners are slow to change. However, this is not so true when it comes to technology. In this era of rapid technological development, no industry is immune to digital and technological disruptions. It has been predicted that over or next decade, the manner of in which lawyer and judges function will dramatically change. Recent studies show that as much as one third of legal activities could already be automated in developed countries. Supreme Court Vidhik Anuvad software is one such example which not only opens the door of combining technology and law but shine as a beacon dispelling light of shadows being cast regarding the credibility of artificial intelligence now, and not just because of COVID-19 pandemic but otherwise as well. The legal industry has slowly but surely begun adopting and embracing various aspects of modern and new technologies. Traditionally, progressive law firms have used software for documents management, case management, knowledge management, time recording, billing, etc. Recent development in technology have enabled the legal profession to automate various processes and operate more like a service business than the profession that it is. The efficiencies that technology has enabled have resulted in improved service level, higher quality, and in some cases, a reduction in legal costs for clients. Technology had been playing a very significant role in the lives of students during this COVID period. Students were able to continue their studies from home through the internet and video conferencing application. These tools of technology have increased student learning speed by providing instant access to information. Lawyers and judges offer guidance through webinar and panel discussion to law students. But technology provides an open platform, it lacks control, monitoring, and surveillance. These innovations are changing the regulatory landscape throughout the world, offering enormous problem for regulators to achieve the correct mix of innovation and resolving possible danger seeping into the system as a result of fast technological improvement. We must bring the technology sector within the jurisdiction of the law in order to safeguard both it and ourselves from its negative consequences. In order to achieve this aforesaid purpose, the Faculty of Law, in collaboration with the Department of Computer Application, is organizing an international conference on emerging trends in technology and its impact on law, which starts today, followed by the technical session to be held tomorrow. It is a joint effort of both the department who are work constantly hard and rigorous to make it huge success. I would like to congratulate to the head computer application, Dr. Muhammad Faisal, and the department conveners, organizing secretaries, technical team, steering teams, student coordinators, and volunteers who worked hard since its conceptualization period till today. So, finally, the day arrived, and with my words in depthness, I once again welcome anyone witnessing this conference and wish all the participants the very best of luck for their presentation. Thank you all once again.
Thank you, sir, for your kind and motivating words. Now, with great privilege and honor, I would like to invite our guiding light, who is also the patron of the international conference, Honorable Pro Chancellor Dr. Syed Nadeem Akhtar, sir, for his words of wisdom.
A very good afternoon and a warm welcome to all distinguished speakers, faculty members, participants, and students. On behalf of Integral University, I welcome you all to this international conference on emerging trends in Technology and its Impact on Law, organized by the Faculty of Law and Department of Computer Applications. I'm very pleased to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Professor Faizan Mustafa Sahab, the Vice Chancellor of Nalsar University of Law, Hyderabad, Dr. Pavan Duggal, Advocate, Supreme Court of India, and the founder and chairman of International Commission on Cybersecurity Law, Professor Celestine Evendi, professor in the School of Creative Technologies in the University of Bolton, United Kingdom, and Professor Nishtha Jaswal, the Vice Chancellor of Himachal Pradesh National Law University, Shimla. These are speakers of international repute, and I thank them for accepting the invitation and presiding over this conference by delivering their expertise and sharing their experiences. It is a matter of appreciation that the Faculty of Law, in association with the Department of Computer Application, have put their domain-centric step towards emergent cross-functionality of ICT and law. The current scenario of technological advancements and regular evolution has inspired people to adopt the multiple dimensions of the Digital India initiative in their lives to limit and not to limit themselves within the boundaries of a particular law or a constitution. Integral University is always committed to contributing towards social, cultural, educational, and technical efforts to make it possible to align itself with all initiatives taken by our Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji. In line with that, the university is organizing this innovative extracurricular activity, just in line with some of the other activities such as the outreach and awareness programs, the pedagogic conferences, workshops, faculty development programs, seminars, and symposia in blended modes, etc. The Faculty of Law and the Department of Computer Application have thought of and given birth, so to say, to this pioneering junction point of two diverse fields of knowledge to discuss the interdependencies of information and communication technology and law by organizing this two-day international conference. This kind of a common and international forum for students, academicians, researchers, and faculty members gives a new height and a new high to the multidisciplinary knowledge on the horizon of an educated society. As we know that the digital platform became a vital component globally, but we have to be cautious to prevent and to stop and to protect ourselves from malified activities. We have to be aware of the technology as well as the respective laws that are enforced upon the use of such technologies and to know if any infraction has occurred. The intense knowledge on the intellectual property rights such as trademarks, patents, copyrights, neighboring rights, the advances in integrated circuits and designs, the geographical indication, trade secrets, etc., cannot be attained without having an understanding of information technology. The law related to cybercrime, online fraud, identity theft, and etc., cannot be understood and apprehended without having the knowledge of these specific fields such as information security, network security, cyber security, etc. And I'm very much pleased to know that two eminent speakers who will grace this conference belong to international and national institutions of repute, the two universities that I just mentioned, one in the southern part of India and the other in the UK. These distinguished speakers will certainly enjoy this opportunity and the moment of delivering their dialogues on the theme of the conference, and we believe that it will significantly demonstrate their expertise and also make us learn from their experiences. It will be immensely useful for our participants, researchers, faculty members, and students. As an academician and administrator, I do believe that the technical talks delivered by our speakers will certainly convey probable awareness and constructive support, role of ICT and respective rules, regulations, the constitution and laws over teaching and research, and it will positively empower us and help us to align with the current technologies. This conference will also share the recent advances in IT and law, and also notify about the murky angle of ICT and its boundary conditions, the regular progressions in the field, the vital challenges and issues. Lastly, I will like to congratulate the organizing chairs, the Dean of the Faculty of Law, Dr. Naseem Ahmed, and the Head of the Department of Computer Applications, Dr. Mohammad Faisal, the conveners, the technical chairs, the organizing secretary, and organizing committee members for giving this international conference a very pleasant start. I wish this conference huge success. I hope that all the participants will enjoy the 2 days event by absorbing as much knowledge as possible. And I look forward to fruitful engagement between the speakers and the participants in future in this field. Thank you very much. Wish you a good day.
Thank you so much, sir, for taking out time from your busy schedule and gracing the event with your insightful words. Now, it gives me an immense pleasure in welcoming our chief guest for today's inaugural session. It is time to introduce the man whose name itself is a bearer of his achievements and intellect. The honorable chief guest for the event, one of the most prominent legal personalities of the country, Professor Faizan Mustafa, sir. Because of the prior engagement of sir, I would like to directly invite Professor Faizan Mustafa, sir, for his words of prudence.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shipra. Dr. Syed Nadeem Akhtar Saab, the Pro-Chancellor of Integral University, Dean Faculty of Law, Dr. Naseem Ahmed, Advocate Pawan Duggalji, Professor Evendi, and other participants. Had Dr. Naseem asked me to come on foot from Hyderabad, I would have done it gladly, because in last 3 months, a lot of my time was spent in the Integral University. Though I was aware of foundation of the university and has worked on its governing board for some years, but living on campus for weeks together and personally interacting people who are working there and seeing how a good medical college, state-of-art medical college has come up, has indeed given me great pleasure and satisfaction. Integral University doctors under the leadership of the Honorable Chancellor and Pro-Chancellor, and I must mention Mr. Faizan Akhtar's contribution is immense. In fact, the whole family and the university has enslaved me forever. We have simply no words to express our gratitude. Dr. Nadeem was abroad when I called him that my mother is down with COVID, and he immediately called his younger brother. And when my mother reached, she was taken care of. And thereafter, 2 other occasions when she was not well, she was immediately admitted. And what a team of doctors Integral University has got in terms of their competence, in terms of their professionalism, and in terms of their commitment and care. And I think that the credit for all this will go to the Honorable Chancellor, who single-handedly has shown us how one man can really make all the difference. Law and technology as a subject is interesting, and when our senior advocate Pawan Duggalji is here and Professor Evendi is attending this conference, I think they are better people to speak on this subject. My area is largely constitutional law, and I am not much aware of the interface between law and technology, but as the Pro-Chancellor, Sir Dr. Nadeem rightly said, that we live in an age of interdisciplinarity. And I would want Integral University to move a step ahead and talk of integration of knowledge. And therefore, law and technology are no more two distinct disciplines. In fact, it is said that law is everywhere from cradle to grave. Similarly, technology is everywhere today. I remember that when my contract teacher was teaching me law in the first semester, he was trying to make us understand that, as per Indian Contract Act, the communication of offer and acceptance happens like this, and the contract gets concluded like this. But in telephone, if there is a telephonic contract, where the contract is concluded and where is acceptance concluded, there was a problem in our exam on that. We have really moved, forward. Today, technology is everywhere. In criminal law, you cannot teach criminal law without cyber forensics. DNA fingerprinting is routinely resorted to in criminal trials. Even yesterday, criminal procedure amendment bill is talking of measurements, and there is quite an opposition from the opposition parties saying that it will lead to surveillance. There has been huge debate about the constitutionality of Aadhaar, and there were concerns about a right to privacy. So I have been just saying jokingly this morning, in the context of this emerging field on which Integral University's law department has arranged this very interesting conference, that the time is not far when you will have IITians as the judges of the Supreme Court. IIT Kharagpur already has a law school, and many years ago I was asked to be its founder dean, but then my university did not give me the leave at that point of time. So the pace of advancement, commonly people say that technology is developing too fast for law to catch up. But then this is a misconception in my view, because in many cases the development of technology itself is influenced by regulations and policies. Thus, both law and technology influence each other. The commonly debated issues in this field are digital rights, surveillance, privacy, data protection. As you know, the country still doesn't have a data protection law. A bill has been prepared. There has been some criticism of that bill, but the data protection law is not the priority of the government. Consent, user autonomy, and dignity. The importance of studying historical and socio-political context to understand both law and technology will make us understand that neither of them exists in isolation. For example, the promises given by the proponents of the internet have been studied, and it was found that they were very similar to promises that were given when the science behind electricity was discovered many, many centuries ago. Similarly, the current promotion of cryptocurrencies and Web3 as revolutionary and decentralizing has been compared to the discourse around the early internet of late 90s and early 2000. The hegemony over technological advancement that is held by USA-based big tech companies and the Silicon Valley firms has been a subject of discussion. The unethical activities of some of these big tech firms like Facebook, Google, and Amazon, which often require intervention from a multidisciplinary standpoint. Technology law must be supported by subjects such as competition law, abuse of dominance and prevention, constitutional law, the rights of users, labor law, since these corporations engage in widespread workers' abuse, and at the same time, the workers are critical to the functioning of technological systems. Thus, technology and how it can be used as a tool for justice, as well as a tool for oppression of marginalized communities, is a subject of concern. How algorithms often reflect social biases, such as the disproportionate targeting and demarcating of Black people as criminals by face recognition systems. I wrote one piece in Hindu on this FR technology. There are flaws in artificial intelligence data sets, which at times lead to biased results, and there are at times dire consequences for the marginalized communities. This whole system is creating new kind of challenges for legal academics and for law students. The approaches which lawmakers at times develop in the context of technology require some kind of synthesis. One is said to be the permissive approach, which says that let technology develop before intervening with regulation so as not to stifle innovation. So let us wait, let the technological developments reach a certain point, then only law should intervene. The other is what is called to be the precautionary approach, that we should intervene right from the beginning with regulation for technologies that are more dangerous. This big data collection for surveillance and targeted advertising and their potential for misuse by both political and corporate actors is emerging as a new challenge, as we saw recently in the Pegasus scandal and earlier in the Cambridge Analytica, and they at times are threat to our democracy and free and fair elections. All technology-related whistleblower events which have occurred over the last decade reveal state surveillance. And Facebook's complicity in the incitement of violence is a matter of huge concern. There is so much of hate speech on net today. I have been writing on freedom of speech and saying that hate speech can be tackled by more speech. I have been saying that let people speak and we would be able to sort out the problem of hate speech. But now I feel depressed, because rather than this new media being liberating and protecting us from the control of editors during the print media days, there is so much of abuse, so much of obscenity, so much of hate, and so regressive at times are things on net that one really feels frustrated that had all this not been there, we would have been better off. There is absolutely no escape for today's law students and legal academics from studying law and technology. Some of the national law universities have now come up with a specialized course in LLM on law and technology. Law and technology as an optional is taught in many universities. I feel that Dr. Naseem Ahmed, the Dean Faculty of Law of Integral University, is to be congratulated for conceiving such an innovative topic, which is highly relevant to each citizen's life, for a seminar and deliberation. And I am sure that we would be wiser after all the deliberations. I would also like to personally thank Naseem Saab for all the hospitality he has shown while my mother was admitted in ICU. He has been coming on a daily basis and helping us. Once again, I am grateful to all the organizers, and particularly Dr. Nadeem Akhtar, the Pro-Chancellor, for giving me this opportunity to say a few words about a topic which is not my domain expertise. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We can never get enough of your knowledgeable words, and indeed, we consider it our privilege to hear you every time. Thanks a lot once again. Next, we have our guest of honor, Dr. Pawan Duggal, sir, practicing as an advocate in the Supreme Court of India, New Delhi. Sir had made an immense impact with an international reputation as an expert and authority on cyber law, cybersecurity law, artificial intelligence law, and e-commerce law. Sir has been acknowledged as one of the top four cyber lawyers around the world. Now that is beyond impressive. Not only this, Sir is the founder and chairman of International Commission on Cybersecurity Law. He is also the president of cyberlaws.net and has been working in the pioneering area of cyber law and mobile law. Further, Sir is also the conference director of international conferences on cyber law and cybersecurity, being the world's only authoritative conference on the same. His avid empanelment as an expert to various national and international platforms has enlightened the field of law. Sir, in association with International Telecommunications Union, conducted many training sessions for sensitization programs for the elected judges and officers of the International Court of Justice at The Hague, Netherlands. He has also founded Cyber Law University, which offers 44 different online courses. Sir has authored 174 books on various aspects of law in the past 20 years. He is also the recipient of Ordre du Mérite de Budapest Award by Council of Europe Economic Crime Division in 2011. The list goes on. I have only touched the surface of Sir's achievements and accolades. An advocate, an academician, and a pioneer. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Pawan Duggal, sir. A warm welcome to you, sir. It is an honor to have you with us today.
Giving us this opportunity, distinguished personalities on this wonderful occasion, Professor Mustafa, distinguished academicians, jurists, ladies, gentlemen, friends. Today is a very remarkable time in our lives. Why do I say this? Because we've seen history developing. We've first seen COVID-19 coming. And then during COVID-19, we saw some new developments taking place. And we thought COVID-19 is behind us. And lo and behold, we now see a war. We now see a new economic order evolving. It's a different ballgame altogether. But in this entire ecosystem, I find technology and law are both playing an extremely significant role as we go forward. This significance is all the more essential because today the electronic format has become the de facto format for us. Today we think electronically, we save electronically, we preserve electronically, and of course we converse and we communicate electronically. So much so that we would like to first want to put our thoughts electronically and then reproduce it elsewhere or talk or communicate about it elsewhere. But I think when I look at this very fascinating journey of law and technology, I can tell you we are only at a very beginning stage of this new era. Because technology is developing, law is a slow starter, but is subtly developing, and definitely in this regard. I thought, let me share my perspective by sharing a couple of slides that would potentially show to you how things are evolving globally and what exactly are we able to specifically see. I think can I share my screen, please? I think I have difficulty sharing my screen. Could we help me assist somebody sharing my screen? I think there's some problem, so let me go without the slides nonetheless. 4 colors is what I'm seeing today that color the landscape. The first, cyber law. Why? Because cyber law is now the intersection of law with the latest trends of technology. Today, cyber law is no longer a normal piece of legal jurisprudence. Today, cyber law represents the de facto legal framework for electronic communication, dissemination of data or information. And cyber law impacts our daily lives. Every act of ours that we do in cyberspace has got cyber legal ramifications. So we have to realize that today, whatever I do online, I've got legality attached with it. So even if I'm part of the great vomiting revolution, which the world is currently seeing, where people are vomiting data pertaining to their personal, professional, or social lives, they're doing so without understanding the ramifications of the same on their life, their privacy, and their personal reputations. The second color that I see today is that of cybercrime. Cybercrime is all around. Internet is more than 50 years old, and since the last 50 years, cybercrime has been an integral part of our lives. But with the coming of COVID-19, we've actually seen the evolution of the golden age of cybercrime, which effectively now means that the manifestations, avatars, and the different categories of cybercrimes are going to be phenomenally different and enhanced and increased as compared to the previous 50 years. And this golden age of cybercrime is going to be with us for the next many decades. So we have to be prepared for the same. The third color that I bring to the landscape is that of cybersecurity. Today, cybersecurity has to be a foundational mantra should you want to secure your presence, your data, your reputation online. The world last year lost more than $6 trillion thanks to cyber crimes and cybersecurity breaches. And by the end of this year, we should be landing up losing more than $8.5 trillion. Every 11 seconds, one company anywhere in the world becomes a victim of a ransomware attack. Attacks are happening on critical information infrastructure, upon judicial grids, upon power sector, banking sector, governmental sector, insurance sector. You name it and you have it. And during these Ukraine war times, we've seen extended enhancement of coverage of cyber attacks. Attacks that are being engaged in by all kinds of state and non-state actors for a variety of purposes. And cybersecurity has to be the common thread that joins all of us. We are part of the link of those big chain of cybersecurity. And it's our job to ensure that we do not become the weakest link in that particular chain of cybersecurity. The fourth most important element that I bring on the table today has got to do with the emergence of newly emerging technologies and the legalities connected therewith. Coming of artificial intelligence has now thrown up new distinctive challenges. Coming of Internet of Things has now startled the world because it's no longer your smart devices, but also your smart refrigerators, your smart ovens, and your smart ACs, which are connecting to the internet. Needless to say, the world still doesn't have any unanimity on the cybersecurity standards of IoT devices. And then there's now advent of newly emerging technologies like blockchain. Crypto has apparently, shall I say, stolen the imagination of people. Everybody wants to talk crypto. but without realizing that crypto and the blockchain ecosystem brings forward various new legal challenges and issues. And then when we are talking now, comes the new age technologies like quantum computing, which is threatening to break all our passwords in a matter of a couple of minutes. And then finally, the latest flavor of the season, the metaverse. The metaverse is the new avatar of the internet, where we will see not just the present world internet, but also augmented reality and virtual reality. And already we are beginning to see the legal issues pertaining to metaverse. A couple of days back, we had organized the first international conference on metaverse and law, challenges and opportunities. And as a person who's been working on metaverse and the legalities, my book on metaverse law is already up for the last couple of months on the online space. I can tell you I learned a lot from a variety of experts as to how metaverse is evolving and what kind of new challenges it's going to bring across. So if you look at these four colors, they in a nutshell are predominant colors in this landscape of the intersection of law and technology. And you have to keep all of these four colors in mind as you go forward. Why? Because whether you like it or not, technology is moving at a rapid pace. Whether you like it or not, you are going to be left behind by technology, because technology says, I'm your biggest teacher. And if you don't learn properly, you'll become my poorest student. Therefore, we have an onus not just to go on constantly updating our technological skill sets, but also ensure that the legal frameworks are adequately also enhanced to deal with these emerging technologies. Let me begin with two important things that lately happened. Number one, in the last few years, we've seen the US now passing a new law. Not a few years, let's put it a few days. US has passed a new law where it's made mandatory for reporting of any cybersecurity breaches of the critical information infrastructure of the US. You have to now mandatorily report it within 72 hours. If you make any payment for any ransomware demand, you will have to report it within 24 hours. That promises to change the landscape of the entire scenario. On top of it, we've also now begun to start seeing that a couple of weeks back, we saw the Ukrainian parliament passing a law which has made bitcoins and cryptocurrencies as legal tender and has authorized Ukrainian banks to collect bitcoins and cryptocurrencies for going ahead and funding the response to the invasion. So it's a different world altogether. A lot of things are quietly happening. European Union is quietly coming up with a new dedicated legal framework on artificial intelligence. We have a lot of work happening on China, on the roles, duties, and responsibilities of not just service providers, but also of service providers and coders in the context of artificial intelligence. And we've seen some fantastic new developments happening in the area of Web 3.0 law. Well, Web 3.0 is the new decentralized version of the law, of the technological paradigm, and the legalities pertaining to Web 3.0 will also assume significance. The other day, when I was actually addressing one of the conferences, I came across a very interesting question. The question they asked me was, do the virtual land that people buy on the metaverse, can it be considered as immovable property? I said it's a fascinating idea from an academic standpoint, but then it's bound to create huge problems from the practical scenario in case if you're going to consider a virtual land in a decentralized site to be immovable property, because ultimately it's not immovable property. It continues to be bits and bytes. So these questions are coming up. Another question comes up. How do we actually go ahead and regulate artificial intelligence? Shall we recognize artificial intelligence as a legal entity or a legal person or an agent or a company? How do we regulate this? No crystal clear answers. We are beginning to see, a scenario where artificial intelligence is now being used for the purposes of committing cyber crimes. Go to the darknet today. You find a number of websites. These websites are actually advertising how you can order a cybercrime as a service using artificial intelligence. Small premium is all that you pay in addition for using artificial intelligence. Sorry. So I think it's a fascinating time as far as the evolution of legal jurisprudence is concerned. And of course, it's also a time where we need to consolidate and go ahead and revisit our existing legal frameworks. 10 days back, I was addressing the United Nations on what all inputs need to be added in the new convention that's being negotiated to prevent the misuse of information and communication technologies for criminal purposes. And when I laid down the various parameters of what I think ought to be as a part of the proposed convention, I myself began realizing that this is a new paradigm and we have to be prepared for it. Way back in 2015, when I had argued at the WISIS Forum in Geneva that the time has come for the world to have an international convention on cyber law and cybersecurity, I did not find many takers to my ideas. Why? Because it was a bit early in the day. And a lot of states were hesitant to go for an international convention. Come 2022, and the ad hoc committee of the United Nations is now working exactly on this same kind of convention that I had conceptualized way back in 2015. I think the time has come where COVID-19 has taught us that we can't take anything for granted. Whatever that we think of the internet is not going to be with us in the same format, in the same manifestation, in the same avatar or our lives. Instant changes are taking place onto the internet. And we have to be mindful of the fact that internet is developing as we talk. So therefore, COVID-19 has told us that if there's going to be one game-changing point in our lives, that will be constantly updating our cyber skill sets. Because in this new uncertain world post-COVID, we're not very sure how things are going to evolve. New technological issues, paradigms, perspectives, and challenges are being raised constantly. And therefore, the time has come where we must constantly keep on updating our digital skill sets. It's in this particular context that conferences assume such a massive significance in helping people to analyze not just the latest developments, but also to keep updated with the latest technological trends. We've even created an online platform called cyberlawuniversity.com, where we are offering various services or various courses on different aspects of cyber law, cybercrime, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, blockchain, and Internet of Things. And these courses are not just international certification courses on cyber law, cybercrime, cybersecurity, and AI law, but we also have a variety of diplomas and short courses. For example, with National Law University, Orissa, we've tied up to offer a diploma course on cyber law and cybersecurity. So when your courses tend to get done by more than 27,500 students from 174 countries across the world, speaking 52 national languages over the last 4 years, I think those figures really tell us one big story, that there is a need felt for constant capacity building, not just amongst lawmakers, not just amongst parliamentarians, but also amongst law enforcement agencies, government officers, professionals, students, academicians, and all stakeholders in the digital and mobile ecosystem. So I think the time has come where we must constantly keep on honing our digital skills, because technology is moving at a fantastic speed. Law is still moving at a snail's speed. And by the time we are talking about updating our legal frameworks, technology is a constantly moving target, which would have moved 5 miles ahead. So in a scenario like this, we have to be very open, holistic, and futuristic in our approaches when we deal on the intersection of law and technology. So today's 2022 first quarter. If in 2050, we were to write a book on law and technology, and in that book was to be of, say, 500 pages, then today in 2022, we would have only come to about the 40th or the 45th page. That means more than about 90% of the book has yet to be written. That would itself give you a phenomenal example of how such fantastic new developments are going to take place on the intersection of law and technology. Therefore, the importance of cyber law assumes of global significance for every stakeholder. In the Indian context, it's even more predominant. India only has one mother legislation on the electronic format, which is the Information Technology Act 2000. This is India's only mother legislation, and by virtue of Section 81 of the IT Act, supersedes anything inconsistent therewith contained in any other law for the time being in force. So let's remember, any act that I do online, any act that I do in the electronic ecosystem has got legal ramifications for me. Also, I'm today dealing with a lot of digital dust. I'm creating data. I become a data entity. I'm generating data. I'm broadcasting data. I'm transmitting data. And more significantly, I'm leaving behind my digital footprints, my digital dust for other state and non-state actors to focus. No wonder this tremendous enhancement of interception, monitoring, decryption, blocking, and a variety of other tools that sovereign governments are currently engaging. I'll finally like to tell you that historically speaking, we are now entering into a new age. A recent book of mine called New Cyber World Order Post-COVID-19 has argued that by the time the nations of the world are victorious against the current and subsequent wave of COVID-19 infections, we will enter into a new cyber age where there will be a new cyber world order, where states will become very powerful, where cybercrime will be our daily default companion, and where increasing cybersecurity breaches will be the new normal. So in this new world that we are actually stepping into, I think we have to shed away all our previous mindsets of the internet of pre-COVID. The internet of COVID has also was different, but now as we come towards the end of COVID-19, internet, cyberspace, World Wide Web will be a completely different paradigm. And we have to be mentally prepared. We have to be constantly toiling. And therefore, a lot of onus will be upon the lawmakers, upon the governments of the world to update their laws, their rules and regulations to be up to date with the latest technological trends. I'll finally sign off when I recite the lines of Robert Frost, which resonate so well in today's times, more so when I'm looking at this entire issue of the intersection of law and technology. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep. I can promise you the cyber law jurisprudence, the cybercrime, cybersecurity, and emerging technologies jurisprudence have miles to go. But you will have to have the gut, the perspiration, the patience, and the mindset to weather this constantly newly changing world that we are entering into. A lot of onus will be on law, but don't always depend on law. First, inculcate cyber resilience as an integral part of your day-to-day life. Let's begin with the basic presumption that we will be attacked. It's not important that we are attacked. The important thing is how quickly can we come back to a state of normalcy after getting attacked. That has to be the new mantra of cyber resilience. That has to be an integral part of all our lives as we go forward. And hopefully, I think as time passes by, lawmakers would start mandating the adoption of not just cybersecurity practices, but also cyber resilience methodologies and procedures as integral mandatory obligations of digital stakeholders in a coming time. I really would like to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity. Congratulations on this fantastic event that you're doing, and I'm wishing you, this event, and your organization all the very best. It's been a pleasure talking with you. Thank you, and over to you, Madam Chairperson.
Thank you, sir, for delivering such a wonderful session and illuminating our thoughts on the theme law and technology. Finally, we have the international acclaimed guest of honor, Dr. Celestine Wendy, sir, who is currently working as Professor, School of Creative Technologies, University of Bolton, United Kingdom. Sir has done his PhD in electronics engineering and is also distinguished speaker ACM, a senior member of IEEE, a seasoned lecturer, and a chartered engineer. He is a highly motivated researcher and a great teacher with 21 years of technical expertise. Sir is also fellow in Higher Education Academy, United Kingdom. Sir has developed operational, maintenance, and testing procedures for electronic products, provided technical support and instruction to staff and customers regarding equipment standards. He has also inspected electronic and communication equipment, instruments, products, and systems to ensure conformance to specifications, safety standards, and regulations. He's a wireless sensor network chief evangelist of artificial intelligence and information technology expert and designer. In addition, Sir is also a visiting professor to various universities, including Coal City University, Nigeria, and an IEEE philanthropist. Your presence means a lot, and it brings all nationals and internationals together to hear you speak. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you very much. I want to thank everyone for coming for this conference, and we are good to go. Thank the Pro Chancellor, the Vice Chancellor, the organizers of this conference for giving me this opportunity to share something about what do you call it, about AI. I'm trying to share my slides. PowerPoint and that, okay. So we can have it ongoing. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Let me try again on the upload of the file. It's processing now. So we have been talking as the file is just uploading. We have been talking on law. I just listened to Dr. Pavan and others who are experts in this area in terms of law. But for me, I'm going to speak in terms of engineering, in terms of the technicality that we see. Why is it important? Why do we have to look at this? Why it's important is, like you mentioned, state will become very powerful. State will become very powerful with cybersecurity if not watched. Not just only cybersecurity, much more artificial intelligence. So that's why it's important for both. Now we are actually in the level where is every course is interdisciplinary. So we have moved from one area where you say, okay, I'm a law student, I don't know anything about computing. You will not succeed in that area. You will not succeed in the future of law if we continue with that. Let me see if it can now share. View size share. Yes, I think I've succeeded in getting into this now. So just sit and look at how the whole talk is going to be.
Yeah, so
Okay, right. So we are now in the emerging trends in technology and its impact on law. So we have been looking at the emerging trends in technology and in impacts on law. I don't know. Yes, we have all the slides coming up. Yes, I will be looking at AI for smarter law. So just for a point of notification, I don't want to introduce myself. Dr. Shibra actually done most of the things. So let me just go in. Now, in the outline I have, I'll be looking at Education 4.0. That is exactly what ushered us into artificial intelligence. Then we'll look at next generation artificial intelligence for a smarter world, or you can call it for a smarter law. Then we look at AI bonded in creative technology, what we do here in University of Bolton, enabling a smarter world with gaming as an example. The world, almost most people see it as a game. People who practice cybersecurity begins with a game. From a game, like the first other speaker spoke, has gotten into trillions of dollars, trillions being lost from game into reality, affecting people's life. Then we have the smart framework, research areas, opportunities, enabling a smarter law. Then we'll give some conclusion and some questions when we have. Now, Education 4.0, which we are actually talking about today. Some of us have moved into Education 5.0. I'll come to that a little later. Now, it's a desired approach to learning what aligns itself in emerging fourth industrial revolution. We're jumping into fifth industrial, but we have not really harnessed the potential of this fourth industrial revolution. But the fourth is actually powered by artificial intelligence, like we have just mentioned. Have we integrated law? Have we integrated other fields into what we have now, into law? No. So that means artificial intelligence is still there. A whole lot of countries, most continents are far behind in this area. So the Industrial Revolution, ergo, we are focused on smart technology. Have we focused on smart law? Have we focused on smart energy? Yes, I understand we have some meters and some other things, but no, if we look detail for most of us in artificial intelligence, we see there's still a whole lot of substance in the area of energy, where you can even know the amount of energy consumption you will have before that, where you can even predict the future in terms of energy breakdown, in terms of system breakdown. We have not yet gotten there. So, but then fourth generation actually has also robotics, but it has been moved to fifth generation because even the robotics has not been fully actualized. In other words, can we have our warplane with robotics fighting as human in those warplanes? So we are not yet gotten there. Or robotics fully taking over in the medical field. Someone will say, yes, what of the human? We are so many in India. We are so many in Africa. We are so many in China. No, artificial intelligence, like a doctor told me when I walked into an hospital because of COVID tests and all that. And they looked at me, checked everything. And he said, what do you study? A professor. I said, hey, I'm an AI lecturer. And he said, hey, I have problem with AI. That in Sweden, what happened is that the government insists that everyone should, the doctor should use the data based on AI to treat patients without them testing. So I told him, I said, AI is not there to remove your job. AI is there to assist you, just like the last speaker said, to assist you to do your job well, to assist you to be accurate in your job. AI is also there to assist you to be a better lawyer. AI is there so that you can work. It's not those days we say, oh, I am just a law professor. I am just a law expert. I'm a constitutional lawyer. I don't need anything in computer. No, gone are those days. Now, because the more you know, the more you become a merchant of that knowledge that will help you to succeed in your career. So Education 4.0 is centered and actually on the heritage, what we call the philosophy in shaping future technology through innovation, industrialization. This includes motivation, creativity, joy of learning back to learners. Then we have different areas in terms of project-based learning, more personalized learning, more remote learning opportunities. We look at the plethora of education tools. COVID brought out most of the things that we should have been set. Most schools were closed because our tools cannot work online. We have not been able to put our lectures, galvanize them in such a way that they can function online, or even in the engineering part. So a whole lot was even going on, but technically there was lapses. So we look at data at the fingerprint. Do we have them? Do we have data of events, data of that? Now, when you talk about law, you talk about people, you talk about AI, you talk also about people changing your picture, changing a whole scenario, evidence, without you knowing the evidence has been changed, using computer vision, using artificial intelligence algorithm. These are all the issues. How will you know as a lawyer if you don't have any technical evidence? You don't have any technical background to look at this. So I have been saying and keep saying to most of the conferences, I said, try as much as possible. The school should put these courses. It's not just as a conference. It has to be inculcated. It has to be put in together in the curriculum or every field. It has to be put together in the curriculum, especially in this area law. Someone say, but he has to do. No, he has to do. You have to know the technicalities that leads you so that you can become a better expert in law. So it also helps with easy and accurate assessment, including the judges. You see, I'll give you that some tips that the judges need to know during this area. So we have been looking at different areas, and then look at jumping from education 4.0 to 5.0. What is 5.0? 5.0 is ability to bring in the human into technology. That is 5.0. How do we make human reason? How do we bring humanity into it? Not just only machine. How do we bring humanity? How do we bring robotics? How do we harness the collaboration between humans and systems and machines? And if you look at the spread of artificial intelligence, you see it has the machine learning, it has the deep learning, it has the expert system, the natural language processing, speech recognition. You see that? This is another area. You say, why does it matter? Why would it matter? If your evidence as a lawyer is based on speech recognition, how do you recognize that crime was performed, by your someone you're defending, or that crime did not take place? Speech recognition. We have seen many years, more than 20 years. Someone I read in the news who did not commit a crime, but 40 years after a DNA was checked. Now, good enough, we had technology algorithm that could detect DNA. Now, imagine a whole lot of people who have died, who they have been killed, sentenced to death, and lawyers judges sentenced them to death because they have no technicality of what we have now. So the advent of technology, especially artificial intelligence, is bringing something new. Text-to-speech, machine vision. Some of you, people can even interfere into your phone and send a whole message. Someone told me the other time his own credit card was being harnessed while he had no idea of what was happening. Crime can be committed from data. Crime can be committed from your system, with you having your phone in your hand, and someone can clone your telephone and do all kinds of things. And then you go into jail for something you have no idea. How do you defend such? How do you know that text message is coming from the president telling you, I want you to be my girlfriend, or meet me in that hotel? And then you say it's the president? So these are all the things that is happening. Text generation, question and answering, context extraction. How do we classify it? Image recognition, especially when we enter into machine vision, computer vision, where things can be changed. How can I use AI to identify in the crowd who is the criminal? These are the areas we are working on artificial intelligence. And then as we go into it, we talk also about privacy. Google brought out a whole lot on computer vision and face recognition. But EU law and some other law is coming because somebody has to protect the common man. But then, how much can we know? How much can we use? How much can we defend as a government, as a people, as an individual? So look at that. Look at the next generation. China is already ahead. In 2030, the State Council is predicting this, what we call artificial intelligence 2.0. So they are trying to be ahead. While some of us are still coming, but we are still trying to wake up, whether we can do artificial intelligence. We are still waking up with the periphery, with the intro. But others are going ahead in 2030. Now, what is their goal? They are looking at this area, what we call the big data intelligence. So as a lawyer, these are things we need to put into the system curriculum so that we can flow to know how much can you defend? How much do you know to defend? Because a judge does not decide, which I know that a judge does not decide except based on evidence. So the bigger, the more you have evidence that you can showcase, the more you can win any case. So if we now go into big data intelligence, for example, where we transform big data into insight, we are now in that for a generation where we have big data insight. We render what we call optimized engagement, capability. We involve active agents. We involve strategies. We bring analysts, intelligence warehouse architects, data scientists, implementation and development experts. These are the things. Because then, as a lawyer, these are people you need to come in to testify about a particular case. So you are bringing these experts and these data scientists to prove that you have the content to win this case. Now look at crowd intelligence, for example. I've mentioned it before, where you can detect from the crowd who is actual criminal before the crime happens. That is why most places like UK here, we have CCTV everywhere. But in some countries like Sweden, CCTV is not everywhere. I know also in India, it's definitely not everywhere. So how do you predict? So here, what they do is we look at the CCTV look at the CCTV around 100 meters or 1 kilometer of that scene, crime scene. So people can predict who is moving here, who went here, who did this shopping here. Assuming we don't have that CCTV, which is connected with Internet of Things, where it is being recorded and monitored by the police. You see, so if it is not monitored, then you see crime will happen and people will leave the scene. That is why there is what we call an urgent response to crime, because these things are in place. Artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, where we have the sensor nodes planted everywhere is in place. So as a lawyer, what will I be doing? I'll be calling for the evidence. I'll be calling for the police. I'll be calling for the evidence of CCTV in that vicinity. I'll be calling for the evidence. I want to see the practical evidence. But take note again, how long does the evidence? Because when a system is shut down, it's just, for instance, if I want to attack your system, if I attack your system and you shut it down, you have lost 90% of the evidence. So if someone called me from Africa and said, our bank has been attacked, what do you suggest? I said, no matter what happened, don't close the system, because you will not be able to trace back where the attacker is coming from. But sometimes they close it, pack it up, and then they transfer it. By the time they transfer, the evidence is already mutated. The evidence is already changed. So look at cross-media intelligence again, where data-driven machine learning with human knowledge, using across media data to make prediction. That is exactly what we do. Make prediction. You make recognition, you analyze, and then you reason based on those data. These are what we call the AI 2.0 that is coming, or the hybrid augmented intelligence. You see, where machine will be more powerful than human, human hybrid collaboration, where humans and machine. Long-term goal is to make machine think like human. How will you defend that in the law court? Will you bring the machine to be as evidence as your someone who is going to testify? So see, these are all the things that we need. This law needs to understand, and then we need to put it, because what you put into machine is what it performs. You see, it cannot go beyond the algorithm that has been put into it. So, or unmanned autonomous system. These are the next generation where we talk about fusion of mechanical systems. We're trying to put all of them in place in technology, using sensors, using software, using how we can put all this together. Exactly what we are doing here, where we bring creative things here. We in the artistic world, we use media art, examples of work being done using creative technology, installation and other immense museum. We try to go on into analyzing the system of examples of creative technology. You see that multi-sensory experiencing. Yes, and then computer graphics, digital cinematography, virtual reality, augmented reality, video editing, software engineering, 3D printing, the Internet of Things, or you are using the cam, or you are using wearable technology. These are massive area. I'm just giving you bits by bits of what is going on. This is what we do here in Bolton in creative technology, where we have the filmex, we have the games, we have because you want to put the scenario of what is happening, and you want people to come into it, and you want to understand what happens in the games world. That's why I use examples of game, because based on game you could also foresee, do we have this algorithm in law? These are the areas where research is needed, where we can put the law practice in games and then use it as a scenario where we have the judge, where we have the scene, where we can predict what is happening by games. And then if we are able to develop that, then it could become reality, because it is the information you put. Artificial intelligence works based on the amount of data it has received. So if we are able to put enough information into the game system of law that has AI of law, we will have a whole lot of scenario. And then based on that, we can have we can now have the privacy, and then we can now have the what do you call it, make jurisdiction about it, or make policy. That is the word. Make policy that we can say, oh, based on this and this is the reality. And then we look at the scenarios where these things are happening. These are areas of research I'm throwing down to a whole lot of us in computer area to think about how you can work in collaboration with law department and make this scenario work. But use games to start, because games to us is software. Once you analyze it with software, you put a whole lot of information, you begin to get results. Put practical examples there and see how it will react in your game based on your programming. And then you see that it's a threat also. It's a threat because we have the espionage, just like the other last speaker said. We have the sample day, we have the fraud area. You see, we deal with data, and once anybody have access to your data, they can do anything. So, and there are AI, we train them to learn, to optimize the system. We train them to learn. We take a whole long time to train. So these are all the things you also need to know, because if the training is wrong, whatever you're going to get is going to be wrong. The goal is to have a smarter world where everyone can function together, where everything can function, enabling a smarter world, where we talk about the tools. Humanity must remain at the heart of every factory, every industry, every law, every practice, every big data deployment, where they must simplify with our low added value, storing information from one system to the other. How can it be reused? Are we going to use the cloud system, using the big data analysis? All these are the things. Where was the data that you're analyzing? Where was it saved? When was it collected? Before or after? This, because they can all be mutated, like I said. So, or look at the game. I told you I'm going to give more example using the games, because we are trying to make the games smarter than ever. From the game, once we are able to put our ideology, our analysis of what law practice is, what we expected in the game scenario, we can have it even as our game, as we develop a game structure. Based on that game structure and put all the scenarios that you expect there, you can transform the skills of developers, making mobile games smarter while you are playing your AI game as a law game. I don't think this whole idea is just coming up as I'm speaking on this topic on this AI, making AI smarter in law. You see, or games smarter than ever. AI-based voice intelligence, you see, it's not changing the way games are played. The same way it's going to change the way law is being analyzed. Where you have a booster, a wide scale of intelligent games across genes, and so much can happen in games. Look at that, enhancing the overall gaming experience. Everything is happening at its own pace. The war, a gaming war is being pronounced, and others are fighting a real life war. If you look at the difference, there's no difference. So something, they are taking the information on the real life and put it into the games, and then people are making it as fun, even in their homes. We can do that in law again. So we make a smart framework for professional goals. Your goals must be what we call SMART. arrange your goals based on departmental level, your individual level, what you want to achieve. What you want to achieve, make it clear. And once it is clear goal, you make it measurable. What are we going to achieve in this milestone of blending law and computing? What are we going to achieve? How long do we attain it? And then how relevant will it be? What is the time bound to make this possible? We can set, Integral University can set mark. We can set the mark that others can follow in India. We aggregate data, structure data, derive meaning from data at machine speed. Pattern recognition, for example, natural language processing. In fact, when you are a linguistic, you can actually use what we call NLP, that's natural language processing, to understand speech. And this is very important in AI. It's another part of AI that is very huge, that is leading to computer visions and all that. Personalization prediction, anomalies, future events. So if well designed, trained, and tested, we can have this as a backup solution to our reasoning. It can help us to decide so that we don't sentence people who did not commit crime, to jail for a crime they did not commit. So we can actually predict. We can also have transparency. We can also have good judgment. I understand the bias part. That is why, I'll mention on something on the bias part later. There is a risk, because if it's not well used, it can be misused either in the military, in the intelligence, law enforcement, commercial or social media, medical diagnosis, or suicide prevention. These are all areas where we can use this AI, and where it's important, because when all this is happening, the law person is the next person that should be there. So, but then what happens when law is not clear or complete? The law you gave, constitutional law, the litigation, or law by analogy and metaphor, the ethics and principles, first mover set, for example, or a different kind of move, like what we have in EU and California. Everything is happening at a very high speed. Are we capable of meeting up with this speed? If we don't put this curriculum into practice from the basic, there's no way we can catch up with the way technology is running. A word on a bias, for example, on AI bias, statistical bias, the moral bias is there, the training data bias, like I said, inappropriate bias or deployment bias, interpretation bias, unwitting human bias, or someone will say, oh, he's going to take my job, intentional bias, overfitting and outlets, or design bias. These are all areas that they have in AI, but that does not stop in the flow, in the flow of what we have in this area. So look at what I wrote for Georgie before I close. There are many different AI technologies. Most AI is interactive and should be tested and validated on a going basis. Humans are always involved. AI predicts, it does not necessarily conclude. You as a judge will conclude, but you predict at present quality, data, volume, and then you make your AI to be brittle, or it can be nimble, depending on your predictive power and algorithms and deepfake, for example. So, like I said, AI applications in energy efficiency, law, industry, currently predict anything and everything. We detect non-intuitive and non-capability related optimization for humans due to the large scope and amount of data. We also help users to the best decision for increasing performance in real time. Like I said, the future will then be the application of AI 2.0, which we call the next generation artificial intelligence and human limitation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your thoughtful words on the theme law and technology. And I hope everyone present here have away from it. So, with this, we come to an end of our inaugural session. And last but not the least, I would like to invite Dr. Abhishek Kumar Singh, sir, convener International Conference, to come forward and propose vote of thanks for today's event.
Thank you, Shipra. No duty is more urgent than returning thanks. Good evening to all. I feel privileged and honored to get this opportunity to propose vote of thanks. I, on behalf of our organizing committee, convey our deep regard and hearty thanks to our Honorable Chancellor, Professor S.W. Akhtar sir, who is the chief patron of this conference. I am also thankful to the patrons of this conference, Honorable Pro-Chancellor Dr. Syed Nadeem Akhtar sir, and Vice Chancellor Professor Javed Musarrat sir. Words are not enough to thank their constant guidance and support to shape this conference. My heartfelt gratitude to our co-patrons, Registrar Professor Haris Siddiqui sir, Dean Doctoral Studies and Research Professor T. Usmani sir, Dean Research and Development Sher Ali sir, Controller Examination Professor Abdul Rahman Khan sir, Director HRDC Professor Syed Akil Ahmed sir, Director IQAC Professor Misbahul Hassan sir, for motivating us and organizing all kind of administrative support and giving us valuable advices. On behalf of our institution, I extend my hearty vote of thanks to our chief guest, Professor Faizan Mustafa sir, and guest of honor, Dr. Pawan Duggal and Professor Celestine, who spared time from their busy schedule to grace the occasion. Your deep and intellectual way of imparting knowledge has truly added to the glory of the event. I thank our Dean, Faculty of Law, Dr. Naseem Ahmed, and Head Department of Computer Application, Dr. Muhammad Faisal, for their stewardship, support, vision, and commitment. I am thankful to all our teaching, non teaching staff members, students who always stand by us. I feel proud and thank you for making this event a successful one. At the end, I would like to take this opportunity to thank my counterpart, Dr. Tasneem Ahmed, Dr. Yashwin Ali, and Ms. Nasa Javed for joining hands and making this dream conference a reality. Once again, thank you all for your attention.